Psychopathic Rydas are back, and they're here to check your shit in. It's just this way, at the Dim Carnival.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dim Carnival. I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
I hope you're prepared to check your things in, friends, because this week we're talking about the Psychopathic Rydas album Check Your Shit In, Bitch, which came out on July 15th, I believe, 2004. As is the tradition with Psychopathic Rydas and their albums, this is all existing rap, generally gangster rap tracks that they have taken the beats to and done their rapping over as their gangsta alter egos.
That was a good band.
And this time, the ranks of the Psychopathic Rydas have swelled up to 7. If you may recall, the original incarnation of Psychopathic Rydas was Violent J as Bullet, Shaggy 2-Dope as Full Clip, Twisted as Fofo and Little Shank, and Misery as Twin Gats, and Blaze as Cell Block. And of course, Misery left. And the second Psychopathic Rydas album, Ridin' Dirty, I believe was just the 5. I don't think ABK, I'm almost positive ABK hadn't joined and Misery had left. So I'm pretty sure it was just the 5 on that one. And now with Check Your Shit In, Bitch, we have 7. We have, the original, 5 of the original 6, not including Misery. And then we have, ABK has joined as Sawed Off and, adding a big heap and scoop and dollop of credibility to the whole affair is Isham as Converse.
The unholy man himself.
And Ryan texted us a few days ago and said, guys, is this album good? And I'm here to say emphatically, yes. This is a very good album.
This is really surprisingly good.
I think, there are really high points on Dumpin'. I have a lot of nostalgia for Ridin' Dirty because I listened to it a bunch. I listened to it all the time when I first got it. From nostalgia, I still like Ridin' Dirty better, but I'm pretty sure this is a better album than that album. So give me some more years with this album, and I think it will eclipse it.
I agree. I of course love Dumpin', strictly for the high points and well, I guess it's kind of like what I feel like all Psychopathic right now that we're 3 albums into Psychopathic Rydas. Rydas.
Writers.
It's literally a novelty project,
Yeah.
And so that's how I view it. It should be something that you think is fun, something that you experience as being a novelty.
But at the same time, you do a novelty long enough and you get good at it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I was thinking.
Weird Al's first album isn't very, it's fine. It's good for what it is. It's good for, a guy who is, trying to get played on Dr. Demento. But, Weird Al now is, he's a brilliant, genius artist with, nearly 40 years worth of work, And that's a guy who, is pretty much strictly a parody act. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad comparison, but, it's not.
You could just say they got better.
Yeah, sure. Well, there are a lot of points in this album, especially when they're talking about, mutilating people, where I was this is if Necro took the time to be funny every once in a while.
Yeah.
That's another. I'm glad you brought that up because that was another part that came up for me, and that's when they. Well, first of all, there is. I feel like it's the same thing we said on other Psychopathic Rydas albums, that you can really feel a difference in quality of members. And there are some members' styles who I think translate better to this format, or just are, closer. They're like a little bit more comfortable. For example, Violent J and Shaggy, they just never really get outside of their ICP-ness, if I can use that term again.
So old.
They just feel a lot more goofy, and I really like that about them. And so that's one of the things I loved about the original, about Dumpin', was that it seemed so over the top and comical that they had these really flamboyant personas. And this album starts off right out of the gate, really hitting that in a deep, deep stride, with Jamie Madrox as, what's his name? Sweet Daddy Coconut.
Sweet Daddy
If you look
Coconut.
behind me, you ain't gonna see nothing but a roll of black trucks. Oak on steering, leather on dash, velvet on seat, with the smoky windows and the big face screens in the back of every chair. We got all black trucks, baby.
Sweet Daddy Coconut doing a 6-minute intro, talking about the album and every single member. Yeah. And that was so much fun right out of the gate, He's doing like a generic blaxploitation pimp voice. I was trying to place if there was anybody that he was particularly influenced by, but nobody that I could really pick out. I think it's more just like a generic thing.
I feel like a lot of that, I feel like in a lot of respects, this is like the voice that's in Madrox's head a lot. And in this instance, he really gets to lean into it. And the first time we really heard this voice was on my favorite part of the Colton Grundy album, when he's like, "They slapped little Latrell."
Yes. Lovely.
Sweet Daddy Coconut. Very good.
My favorite thing that he says is when he's talking about the black trucks, a row of black trucks,
Yes,
and he says,
yes.
"Charcoal dipped in diamond chip candy with a big flake."
It's so good. Oh no, my favorite, so it's like the second or third thing, like the second or third line he says when he says "oak on steering." I was like, I'm fucking in. This album is he's like, "oak on steering, leather on dash, velvet on seat."
Yep. Lovely. I always think it's fun
yeah.
when Jamie is talking to himself and as two different characters. I love that.
It's good when any member of Psychopathic talks to themselves as two separate characters. So there's only 3 tracks that have lyrics on Genius.
Yeah.
And I don't know because I did not. So Ryan, I was kind of hoping you had done some digging on who sampled or whatever, or done some sort of research into what these tracks are. I'm pretty sure one of them is Wanksta.
One of them is Wanksta.
It's a very distinct song. That was the only one that I could identify by ear.
Oh, really? Yeah, there was definitely a few that I recognized. And that's another part that I really enjoy, because there was a little bit of hype for Dumpin', because that was I bought Dumpin' on the Psychopathics from Outer Space tour.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew that record was going to be selling at those shows and what it was, but hadn't heard any of it. And so, it was at the Oakland show that I saw them, where I bought the record and immediately took it, got back in the car after the show and put it in. And I was super curious to hear which songs they stole, what beats they stole. Mm-hmm. And since then, it's been really fun for me listening to these 3 records so far, to hear and try to figure out what songs they stole from. And then it also ends up being kind of funny to me sometimes, what the original track was and what they turned it into, something completely different, For example, Air Force Ones by Nelly,
And they're really good about it. Like, honestly, they're really good about it. Like, there's, like, admittedly, I'm not as familiar with, like, hip-hop in general as you are. So, like, there are so many tracks off the first two Rydas albums where, like, there's no chance I ever would have recognized them because, like, they make the song so about something so drastically different than what the song's about that it turns it into a different song.
Right. Like,
they put new hooks on it, and they put, you know, like, it's a new song, and, like, I think about this a lot when I listen to Psychopathic Rydas of, like, I don't know whether, cause, you know, Ryan, you and I were, well, all three of us were in bands together, and we did a lot of covers in all of those bands, and, like, I love doing covers, and the reason I love doing covers is because I fucking love these songs so much that I want to play them, and yeah. I don't know, well, because I've never tried to do a rap song, but, like, I don't know whether I would mentally be able to take a song I love, like, take a song I love so much that I want to use the music of that song to make a song, and be able to divorce myself entirely from what the song originally was about. Like, I don't know if I would be able to do that.
What's interesting, okay, so what I was going to say is, I think my initial response to that but prior to listening to this record would have been, I think they just pick beats that they like, you know, beats that they think are fun, or maybe beats that are inspiring to them, and not necessarily songs that they enjoy. But there's one song on here that I have no idea how they know, and you know, I didn't know what it was. Street Rap by this guy named, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right, Mariko. This dude is Wu-Tang affiliated, so, like, if you listen to hip hop and you know, then you probably know about Wu-Tang, you know, you probably know about this guy, but his records, like, they didn't even chart in New Zealand where he's from, you know, but he's a rapper, a Samoan descent rapper from New Zealand, that's Wu-Tang affiliated, and he had this track in 2003, you know, the year before this album came out, Psychopathic Rydas album, and this was probably, I think it was his, like, highest charting song, but I had never heard it before. And so there's gotta be, you know, there's some love there. There's some, like, it's more than just superficial. It's not just 50 Cent tracks and Nelly tracks. You know, they're, like, bringing in music that they enjoy. And I mean, they've got 2 Scarface songs, on this album. And admittedly, his, music, you know, it fits with the style. But I think there is some aspect of them including songs that they really enjoy as well. Like you said.
Sure.
But the first track, well, you have the intro, right? But the first track, Time to Ride.
When we ride, you can't hide. Don't let me see ya. Fuck you, bullets burn your ass like gonorrhea. My dirty ass bitch Nina, you don't wanna see ya. Converse much worse, I just might OP ya. I sit at the crib and just polish my gun until I get the call. It's time to murder someone.
The real song that they stole from is Ante Up by M.O.P., which is, like, I'd be surprised if you hadn't heard that one, Bill.
I mean,
even if you didn't recognize it, like, if I
heard the song, yeah, I'll have to go check it out.
Because it's been in, like, video games and commercials and stuff like that.
Sure.
But it's such a, like, an energetic, exuberant, expressive song, you know, it's like a really get the crowd moving, song. And so,
dude, all 3 Psychopathic Rydas albums start, like, Dumpin' starts harder than any other Psychopathic Records release that we've ever listened to.
Right.
But all three of the Psychopathic Rydas albums, like, are not fucking around when they start. They're not, like, giving us a minute of a verse and then, like, a 3-minute skit. It's,
hey,
damn,
introduction to the players and then fucking, here we go.
Off to the races.
Time to ride.
Yeah. There's a moment in Time to Ride when Shaggy takes the biggest breath that I've ever heard any person take on a record. He inhales the entire microphone. So,
Shaggy is fucking on fire on this album.
I was gonna say Shaggy is my favorite thing on this album. Everything he does is gold to me in this.
This is really Shaggy's wheelhouse, I feel.
And he, even more than Jay, sounds like the most out of place. And I love it. Cause I just see him up he's like, this is my jam and I'm doing it my way and I don't care. Like,
I
it doesn't
agree with that.
Yeah, I love it so much. And then it just, and it takes it, it's why I like ICP, you know? He just adds that flavor to it. I feel like Violent J in this tries to act a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And, than the other ones. I notice he uses, he probably did the other ones too, but like, I just noticed his voice being low a lot, trying to sound more serious. and I don't remember him having as many funny lines. Not the way, Shags did in this one.
I definitely wanted more of that from them as well. It sort of comes, I don't know why I give Twisted, obviously, well, I thought that Isham was surprisingly to me, Isham was my favorite throughout the album. Like, I found myself
phenomenal.
Track after track, just Isham's verse.
This is what Isham does.
You know, but I just haven't ever really dug Isham's stuff, you know? The homie Rob, we mentioned him seems like every episode, but he's emailed me cause I've said that before. And so every once in a while he'll email me a Isham track to listen to. And I always like the stuff that he sends me. But it just doesn't I don't know.
No, I love Isham on tracks with other psychopathic artists. Like that's like you said, his stuff is good, but it's not like I want to seek it out. But like, since I'm so connected to the other Psychopathic Records artists, like if he's playing with them, then like, oh yeah, no, this is perfect.
I feel like, these type of albums where they get to have a different persona are just like, I view them as these like really fun treats for, Monoxide Child and Jamie Madrox to just really like try a different thing, or, you know, really dive into their character or whatever. It lets them to expand to be a little bit creative, which is what obviously they're really strong at. And so,
and I love Blaze's soul block on these albums too.
He's got it's a nice, different kind of style, you know?
Soul Block's a more compelling character than Colton Grundy.
That was in my notes.
Oh.
Not worded quite that way, but
honestly, I feel like the person who feels the most out of place is Sawed Off. I think ABK, like, not that he's bad or anything, like he's not out of place on this album, but like I think that like what we know of ABK and his character, like it fits in with this a little bit less than everyone else. I don't know.
I do not disagree. I will say that the exception on the record is Scrimp Juice.
Yes.
Scripts and Juice.
Well, we'll be talking about some scripts.
But, that song was made for him.
You want to keep telling us what these tracks are?
You want me to just run down them or what? Like, cause I don't know if we're going to do like a track by track. So,
we weren't going to do a track by track, but
well, let's see. I can run through them pretty fast, probably. My Rydas is Automatic by E40. And it's really funny to think about what E40's voice and like the way that he raps, sounds like.
Oaktown represent.
What's that?
Oaktown represent.
Right. And then, the song after that, Pimp Suit, which I feel like is the low point on the album. Fresh from the Yard, Beanie Man featuring Lil' Kim. Kraken is Wanksta, as you mentioned before, by Fiddy. Gunsmoke is a Scarface track, the first Scarface track, In Cold Blood. Scripts and Juice is obviously Juicy, Notorious B.I.G.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Ride Off, another track that I really liked is The Knock by Nocturnal. It's a beat by Dr. Dre. Money Green, here's one that I love, Hey Lover by LL Cool J. Off of the Mr. Smith album, which sucked. I hate LL Cool J, and this is the worst track on that album.
Not good at rap.
This is the track when my cousin bought Mr. Smith. My cousin loved LL Cool J, and he's like, oh, we gotta listen to Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith was the one that had, doing it. Wow. So,
this is a real horny video.
It's actually like literally one of the lyrics is "I'm horny" in that song. But my cousin bought that record. And he put it in, and like we were listening to it, and this song came on. And I was like, "What is this shit?" LL Cool J and Boyz II Men singing a song called "Hey Lover, Hey Love, This Is More Than a Crush." And so I just love that they turned it around. Song. Yeah, they turned around and made it the weed smoking song, and that was a much better song. Much better song. Next one, Murder for Hire, is Air Force Ones by Nelly. The next Scarface track, Game Over, another Dr. Dre beat, for the Psychopathic Rydas track, Guilty. Then we got Run That, which is the Mariko. I feel bad, I don't know how to say the dude's name.
How's it spelled? Just 2 R's or?
Mareko. Mariko.
Okay.
Street Rap is the name of the track, and I recommend checking it out. It's got Inspect the Deck is on there as a feature.
Nice.
And then finally we got Last Ride, the last track on the album,
which is written by The Undertaker.
Right. Take My Pain is the name of that track by a rapper named Fiend. That track was produced by Master P.
Master P.
Master P. Take My Pain is like, if you guys, have we ever talked about your, scientific podcast goes boink on this show?
Maybe.
Well, on that, one of those episodes, I guess I was a guest on, we talk about, me and Peter talk about, Master P track, Miss My Homies, featuring Silk the Shocker. And Silk the Shocker is on this track as well. And it's basically like that song again. And Master P does a bunch of uhs at really weird, inopportune times throughout that track. So if anybody hasn't listened to that one and wants to go listen to it, it's pretty fun. I mean, it's not fun. It's about how all your friends die. But, yeah, it's a good track.
I'm on it.
So that's it.
Can you, did you find those off of Who Sampled?
I got some of them off of Who Sampled, and then I found, I don't know if it was Fago Lovers or another ICP site that had all the tracks listed or whatever.
Can you text or email me that list? Because I would like to listen to these.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so if you guys can just wait while I do that.
Back to you in 45 minutes.
So yeah, like we can talk about highlights, or we can go through it just front to back, or whatever you guys want to do. But thank you for doing that. I knew that you would probably have done that, and I appreciate it.
No problem, man. Happy to. Well, I'll go first. So like I said, Pimp Suit, I feel like is the low point on the album for me. The next song after that, Kraken, I didn't write a single note for. But then we get to Gunsmoke.
I wanna live to be an old ass gangster, tired as fucking in a black wheelchair, rolling down a hill busting. I don't lift shit or work out, I do finger curls. I'm straight gangster, smoking Sherman, fucking fat girls.
Don't get her barking at you, her bite'll leave you missing a chunk. Turn a chunk.
And Gunsmoke is after those first few tracks, you have the first one that comes out of the gate, Time to Ride. That one's really, really good, really strong. My Ride is fine, it's like good. But then Pimp Suit hits, and I'm like, ugh. I didn't like any of the content on that.
I liked Pimp Suit when I was half listening to it, and I thought it was like literally just a full song about a suit.
That would have been fine.
Like a full song about what each one of them is dressed like, and like two of them kind of do that. Like Lil Shank kind of is like that, and Shaggy is definitely like that. But like I just like. When Shaggy started rapping, I just like snapped to attention because he's like, feed me some gators, my toes be laced with prehistoric raptors, and just talking about like, cause he's talking about his suit the whole time basically, but he says like, oh, my shoes aren't gator, they're prehistoric raptor, or what my shoes are made out of, and that's incredible. But like when I was paying more attention to it and looking at the lyrics and stuff, I was like, oh, this is a bummer of a song. It's not just everyone talking about what they dress like, which is what I thought the song was originally about. So, and the hook's decent.
But when we get to Gunsmoke, that's when I feel like that track is super solid. And that's a track that I feel like you could just play for somebody. I mean, there's like funny parts. Like Violent J says, you know, you got like a smoking bullet hole for an eye or whatever he says. But I just feel like the mix of the music and the concept, you know, the idea that they're going with, worked really well for me.
Yeah. For me, that was the best song on the album. I like, after Pimp Suit, which was so disappointing, I actually did like Kraken some, because I love shit. Because I like Shaggy saying crack a latte, or however he was saying crack a latte. This is stupid. It is great though.
But yeah, Gunsmoke is incredible. Like, all the, like how much material they get off of just talking about the smoke coming out of a gun is really impressive, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we got Scrimps, which is my favorite track on the album.
Scrimps and juice, bitch. That's what I want. You got that here? You got any Chinese spare ribs up in this motherfucker? Fuck that. Give me some scrimp and juice. Motherfucker, I'ma get loose up in this bitch right now.
24 with the gold tip, shrimp and juice. All platinum with the gold grip, about to get loose.
It's the centerpiece, honestly. And I like, we must not lose sight of that the cover of Right and Dirty has an Escalade and a pallet cash. It's like a Master P. It's like a No Limit album cover, but like in the foreground is a huge platter of shrimp cocktail. And I think where the cocktail sauce goes is like diamonds. But, you know, what do you know about shrimp cocktail, huh?
So when I listened to this track, it made me think of Way of the Gun. And, I can't remember who directed Way of the Gun, Bill?
Benicio del Toro?
No.
I don't know, man.
How do you not know this? It's a guy. It's a guy.
I didn't know. Yeah, well, it's a guy that directed Way of the Gun. You're kidding me.
It's a guy that we should know.
Really? Christopher
Yes.
McQuarrie?
Are you telling me that?
It's Christopher McQuarrie. It's not really a guy we should know, but it's Christopher McQuarrie.
Okay. Well, then I was wrong that we shouldn't know who that dude is. But there's a story that I know
I
about
don't even
that.
know what you guys are talking about.
You never
It's a
seen Way of the
movie
Gun?
called Way of the Gun with Benicio del Toro and Ryan Philippe.
Oh, it's good.
No, it
I
is.
I don't watch
Tay Diggs. Tay Diggs is rad in that movie.
Movies.
But there's a scene where this woman is eating a bunch of shrimp cocktail. And that woman, the actress, is a vegetarian. And the director, you know, convinced her that she should eat this shrimp throughout this scene. And it's really, like, grotesque.
Ugh.
I don't know.
Look,
She's eating these huge shrimps.
I eat meat all the time, and I love fried shrimp, and I love shrimp cooked and stuff, and whatever. I love to eat meat. I think shrimp cocktail is fucking disgusting.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
Yeah. I get down on some shrimp cocktail. I think it's gross.
It's not as bad as a staple in my mom's side of the family at family gatherings. This is the fucking worst. It's a big pile of cold shrimp on top of a block of cream cheese.
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst thing I can possibly imagine. But, like, I'd eat shrimp cocktail instead of that, but like, I just peel and eat shrimp and shrimp cocktail, like, it's kind of gross.
I'll get down on some shrimp cocktail if I have a big vat of cocktail sauce. You gotta drown the shit.
Oh, I
well,
love
yeah,
it.
you can't just eat the shrimp. Are you fucking Neanderthal?
Oh, Neanderthal here.
Steve's like, I'll take a shrimp any old way.
Steve eats the tails and everything. Just
Crawl into my mouth, yeah.
It's funny. I mean, I didn't like shrimp a whole lot growing up, and I don't know. I reached like middle age, and all of a sudden I was like, this shit's amazing.
Shrimp's good. Sorry, scrimp. So remember, Steve, what was the name of that? Fuck. What was the name of that barbecue place that we went to all the time?
Oh.
It wasn't Smalley's Roundup. It was something, right?
No, yeah, it wasn't that. It was right there on like Laurel and North Main Street. Yeah. Dang, it was so good.
Yeah, it ruled. It was
I thought Bill and I were gonna die.
All the time across from Sherwood Gardens and Salinas. But like, I would always get like a side of fried shrimp with whatever we got. And like, I was like, I don't know if I don't think I ever actually did it, but like, I was convinced that like the most like the best thing I would ever be able to do with my life is to like put fried shrimp on like a double Western bacon cheeseburger. That'd be good as hell, man.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Do you guys know was Scrimps like a thing that happened, or what's the deal with Scrimps? Because it's like a running thread through this whole album. It's on the album cover and all that. Like, was there some cultural thing that? Because I don't listen to rap music, or I don't know what it could be from.
Shrimp is a signifier of class, high class,
sophistication,
and expense. Because shrimp is expensive to buy in the supermarket. Like you're not like, my family wasn't just buying shrimp, and especially people like in way lower incomes, no one was buying shrimp. So anytime you got to eat shrimp was a treat.
Yeah.
Cause shrimp is pricey. Like steak, steak is like, it's steak night. We can afford steak right now. Like steak, but then shrimp's another level above steak. So like they've talked about shrimp before on Psychopathic Rydas albums, on Riding Dirty. They say something about shrimp on my extra value meal. Like they talk about shrimp as a sign of affluence previously within this very canon. But like, yeah, shrimp has always been in my world, coming from a working class family. Shrimp has always been a signifier of like, oh shit, you got shrimp money? Fuck. Damn, dude, you're just serving shrimp at this party? Damn.
Like, I definitely get that shrimp cocktail is like a symbol of status or whatever. So I like definitely get that. But I'm just curious if there was something that happened that, because it's like so prevalent on this record. I didn't remember that they had said it, or didn't occur to me, or I didn't remember that they had said it on previous records.
I'll tell you what happened, man. They finally got that fucking scrimp money. I think that the one mention and the cover of Riding Dirty like planted a seed in all of their mind. Like probably when they slapped the album cover art together at the last minute after all the tracks were laid down, and they saw the album cover art and they're like, fuck, shrimp, that's hilarious. And when they got back together in the studio, they were probably like, Madrox or somebody was probably like, gotta have a song about shrimp though.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that Riding Dirty is like an entire shrimp cocktail on the cover.
Yeah, dude. It's a huge platter. It's like the fucking focal point.
Right. I forgot, man.
Yeah, I forgive you.
All right. Well, here we are.
God, no salad, man. Damn. Which is funny because like on this album cover, for Check Your Shit In, Bitch, is like a couple of AKs and some clips and a little candy bowl filled with shotgun shells and another candy bowl, an ashtray filled with cigarette butts and some weed and stacks of money in a trunk. This might, like, it might be in a trunk or it might be on a table, but they could have absolutely should have had some shrimp somewhere here.
That's what I was so confused. I was looking at a picture. I thought when you were telling the story, I thought you were saying it was this album cover because I see the ashtray, and I thought that I was looking at a very small
like
image.
Those are weird shrimps.
And I was like, oh yeah, that's the shrimp, and those must be diamonds in there, but it's cigarette butts or whatever. So I was
the shrimps have gone bad.
Completely confused about the shrimp.
Nobody eat the shrimps.
They're butts.
But it's very obviously clear on the Riding Dirty album cover.
Ryan, you want to talk about the time you drank a bunch of cigarette butts?
Listen, I went through a really dark phase of my life where I was very, very self-destructive, and that included drinking a beer with cigarettes in it.
Are you proud of yourself?
Sorry. We got a little sidetracked there, I guess. So Scrimps, we can all agree, a high point of the album.
Yeah, especially like these two back to back. It's like a serious, like hard gangster song, goes into the fun scrimp juice, with a little skit at the beginning where he's trying to order the food. So yeah, that back to back was like really high spot for me.
My big note on it was, this song is stupid but pretty awesome.
Well, yeah, it's like all of them.
Also, I love this song that they refer to a missing persons poster as a "Have you seen me" poster.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like this is actually like a solid section of the album, probably the strongest section of the album for sure for me. Ride Off I thought was really fun, and Money Green was the LL Cool J track that's about money and weed. And so those 4 tracks, it was just like one hit after the other, and that's probably when I texted you guys like, is this album good? I did not expect to like it, and I just had so much fun listening to it.
It's very good. And the next track, which is Murder for Hire, I fucking love this track.
Yeah, it's pretty badass.
It rules so hard, and I love the hook of "shut the fuck up and get shot." Like, it's so good. Like, there's so much to dissect there. It's so good. Just shut up and get shot. But like, I have to highlight all but the last 2 lines of Shaggy's verse, which I have transcribed. What's that hanging out your fist grip? Cheddar. Just fist grip. What's that hanging out your fist grip? Is like maybe the platonic ideal of a Shaggy lyric. What's that hanging out your fist grip? Cheddar. So tell me, playa, who is it that you need deaded? Because I don't give a fuck who he is or where he stay, or even his kids' names, as long as I get paid. So how do you want it? Blood-soaked or dry? As soon as paper hits palm, somebody finna die. I just love the idea of a dry murder.
Dry murder, yeah.
Yeah, it's like in Arizona. It's a dry contract killing. And then just a few lines later of what I feel is one of the Violent J's high points of the album, where he says, "I'll blow a baby out a stroller for the right amount of cash." Which is so like I said, it's like if Necro had, cause it's like street level brutal, like, cause like, I don't know how to describe like ICP's violence is always like theatrical and cinematic and supernatural. And this is like street level violence, but it's like, so like, it's similar to like what Necro raps about, where it's like mutilating bodies and being like a guy who shoots people with guns and stabs people with knives and whatever. But like, the Psychopathic Rydas crew approaches street level violence with the Psychopathic Rydas sense of humor. So it's so much more palatable, and like, you're supposed to laugh at it. I mean, it helps that this is a satire act, but like, you're supposed to laugh at it, and it is amusing and entertaining. So it's super easy to listen to.
Yeah.
It's like, one of my absolute favorite, bands of the last like 5 years is Masked Intruder, which is a pop punk band that's like fucking over the moon talented, like writes some of the catchiest pop punk I've ever heard in my entire life. But they're a gimmick band, and they all wear like color coded like ski masks and Converse, and like have color coded like instruments and stuff. But like, they're like 100% of their songs are about like they're masked intruders. They are stalkers and obsessed with women, and like break into people's houses and like steal everybody's shit and like hold people up at knife point and rob them. Like, they're masked intruders, and like, that's the whole gimmick. But like, the band is a parody of toxic masculinity. So like, you can enjoy all of the stuff they're saying, because you know that it's punching up at like the pervasive attitudes of like fucked up things that like men do, and like fucked up things that like the criminal justice system does. And like, just like, that you can enjoy like, hey, here's an extremely good song about like how fucked up it is that like men feel entitled to this, but like, it's sung from the point of view of someone who believes that. And I don't know if I'm making myself clear, but maybe. But and then like, they also always play with a cop on stage with them, like a fake cop that's part of the band, who like eventually ends up like just wearing a thong on stage. So, but like the whole time, like the whole show, they're like, yeah, fuck cops, like flipping the guy off, and like the cops acting like a huge asshole because he's a cop, and it's great. It's good shit. I recommend going to see Master.
Yeah, I followed that, man. Sounds good. I'm into it.
We're all into it. All right, guess that's the end. I also loved the last song of the album. It was very good. Very good closing track.
Okay. I just want to say what you said again. I love the last track of the album.
On my way to my funeral service. My last ride. I'm not crying cause I know I deserved it. My last ride. Put my body in that coffin and drop me. My last ride. I was destined to ride, nothing could stop me. My last ride. On my way to my funeral service.
I think it's so great. There's a couple things. One is Violent Jace in the chorus singing, I'm not gonna cry. I'm going to my funeral and I'm not gonna cry because I know I deserve this.
Yes.
Which I feel like is such a weird thing to say. Because you're dead, you know, like he says it almost in a way like he's being punished, but a funeral like is a celebration of your life. So why would you cry about it, you know?
Well, I think it's carrying on from what they rap about in Guilty, the track Guilty, where they're all talking about like, yeah, you can say whatever fucked up stuff you want about us because we did all the shit that you're saying, and
You just gotta catch me.
That's right.
And then they get caught in the grave.
Shaggy doing an entire verse to a bullet shell really, really got me. I just thought that was spectacular.
Mm-hmm. I want to point out something else that is a carryover from previous Psychopathic Rydas albums, and that's the absolute worst fucking gunshot sound effects that you could possibly have on an album. And like they've done it so many times at this point that it has to be intentional. There's no way it's not intentional.
Trying to make it over the top.
Yeah, just so stupid, but in a good way.
Yeah. I feel like it sucks that I don't feel like, because it's a novelty, I don't feel like there's much to speak about this album.
Well, we've talked a lot about it, I feel.
We have. I'm surprised we talked this long. I just feel like, you know, you can't really talk about the music because it's, you know, they're stealing these beats. And it's not really, there isn't really a concept or, you know, and that's something that I hold these psychopathic acts and M&E now acts to this higher expectation that you can't just get on a track and say dope shit. You know, you have to you have to have a story, you have to have a concept or a theme or whatever. Not to say that this isn't a theme, you know, it's a satire, like you said. But
I think that the theme of this album in particular is like robbing and murdering people for profit, like explicitly, like, because like Run That is also a very good track that I like, which is like, so like the album opens up with like, you better watch out for us because we'll stick you up for anything, and like Shaggy's like, you better take them fucking pants off, like
right. As they get introduced, they're each saying like what they're gonna steal,
and I feel like that thread definitely carries over throughout the album of like, we will fucking rob and take anything and get them, and like admittedly, I will readily admit that is a very thin, it is a paper thin concept to carry over for an entire album, but that to me is enough to put this album on a way higher level than that Blaze album was into.
Well, okay, so I may have it was unfair of me to say that there aren't concepts or whatever to each individual song, but the concepts are like, for the track Ride Off, the concept is we literally move from one side of the city to the other, like, or we just leave. We're constantly leaving wherever we're
crimes
at.
And leaving.
Yeah, we just go away, and that's the conceit or whatever. The whole song is about that.
He robs all those people at the mall, stealing their purses, and rides away.
And the outro is Bullet, and he's just like, we go to the west side, and then we go to the east side, and then we go back to the west side, you know?
In their black trucks.
I don't know what you want from Psychopathic Rydas. Look, I will say this. I loved it.
Yeah, so much fun to listen to. I listened to this like 4 times through this week. Great.
And so when I was looking into so I did some research to this album. I found out something very surprising to me, I believe, I don't know if this is a development since the last Psychopathic Rydas album we listened to, but apparently, so Psychopathic Rydas kept going through permutations of people. They have a few more albums that we'll get to someday. But when M&E, when Twisted and Blaze left Psychopathic, there was like some stops and starts with Psychopathic Rydas, and eventually like ICP was like, yeah, Psychopathic Rydas is dead. But within, but apparently in 2019, Twisted, Blaze, and Boondocks, who at some point was in Psychopathic Rydas, Twisted, Blaze, and Boondocks got together, added 2 new guys, King Gordy and Gmo Ski, and basically reunited Psychopathic Rydas, and now they're called The Rydas. And apparently they released a self-titled album on M&E in January of this year, which is not on streaming services that I could find. I didn't look too hard, but it's not on Apple Music. So I don't know like how readily available that album is, but like apparently there's an all new Psychopathic Rydas that it doesn't have ICP in it.
Yeah, it is on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
You can listen to it on YouTube.
Cool.
I haven't listened to it.
I just thought that was really weird. But I mean,
Yeah,
I guess it goes to show that it was like at some point it became more of Twisted's baby than ICP's.
I think what it shows is that it's probably as much or more fun to make these records as it is for us to listen to them.
Oh yeah.
So, why would you want to stop?
And speaking of things that are fun to listen to, next week we're going to talk about Jump Steady's Master of the Flying Guillotine, which is an album by Jump Steady.
I'm excited to listen to it. I don't have high expectations.
It's the first release, first release in the calendar year of 2005, which means that at this point, hey, good news, guys. Our podcast is only 15 years behind.
It's going to take us at
Making
least that
progress.
long. Yeah, to get through.
And just got to say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Psychopathic put out 10 releases in 2005, so we'll be in 2005 for a while.
Yeah, for like the next year. Holy shit.
It shouldn't be too bad because there's only a couple that we have to do track by track stuff for. So, anyhow, Master of the Flying Guillotine is the next assignment. Any last thoughts on this album before I wrap things up for us?
Loved it. Highly recommend it. Check it out.
Yeah, I'll actually listen to it again. Like for reals.
Big time. Yeah. I might listen to it like tomorrow.
Easy now, buddy.
No, I gotta listen to a fucking Jump Steady album, so I guess maybe I'll listen to this between tracks.
The entire
play
album.
one Jump Steady track and then listen to Check Your Shit In, bitch, and then listen to the next Jump Steady track. Alright, well, thanks to everybody for listening. As always, we appreciate you. Please go check out Dim Carnival on YouTube. Ryan's doing amazing stuff there. Smash that like button. Hit the subscribe. And ring the bell for notifications. Let's get up to some, a whole bunch of subscribers there, so that Ryan can maybe monetize that. Check out Dim Carnival on all social media. Ryan is doing a great job, as always, on social media, especially all the cool stuff he does on Instagram, where we get engagement from several psychopathic and M&E related individuals. So that's always fun. Yeah, that's that, Mattress Man. Thanks to everyone for listening, and until next week, I'm Bill.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Ryan.
And go eat some scrimps. About for half a dozen episodes.
Oh. Oh, we lost you, Bill.
Well,
I heard him.
am I here?
I lost both you guys, I guess.
What? Oh, it's
Sorry.
you. I heard Bill's
Oh, it's
entire
fine.
statement.
It's definitely me.
Yeah, Ryan sucks. Ryan eats shit.
Well, now I'm getting this part.
Okay. Steve was talking all kinds of stuff about how you S on D's and whatnot. You can cut that part out. Stinger.